It's been said that our past is what defines us. And while we have control over just how much we allow the events of the past to impact our lives, there are some things that we cannot and should not forget. I remember hearing stories of what Hawaii was like when my grandparents and great-grandparents were kids, and it seemed like they grew up in a totally different place. Back then, Kohala was defined by the plantations and the sugar cane that they produced. The villages of Hawi, Kapa'au, and Halaula were a melting pot of cultures, brought together and unified with the single purpose of manufacturing sugar. Everything was centered around the plantation. Kohala was built around the sugar mill, and this enabled the area to develop and evolve. The cane was grown, harvested, and processed in Halaula. It was then loaded onto a train that took the product to the port of Mahukona, where it was put onto cargo ships to be taken to market. During the mid to late 1800s, there were 5 sugar plantations in Kohala. But by the time my grandparents were children, all of the mills had consolidated into one, the Kohala Sugar Company. When Kohala Sugar Company closed in the 1970s, many left Kohala in search of work elsewhere. The once thriving sugar industry was now a part of Kohala's past. If the past does not define us, then it surely must help to shape who we are and what we will become. The slow pace and laid-back nature of island life is such that quite often time seems to be standing still. Change happens slowly, if at all, and this isn't such a bad thing. This fact is one of the reasons why Hawaii has been able to retain its connection to the past while also somewhat embracing the future. But still, the lives that my ancestors experienced growing up here was so far removed from anything that I could relate to. There was an innocence and purity to life that seems almost alien to the way we live today. The plantations brought in people from all over the world. These families worked together, despite cultural and language barriers, to create the Hawaii that I would grow up in. The stories of our Kupuna are priceless treasures that help not only to define what it meant to live in the Hawaii of the past, but are crucial in retaining our identity as we move into the future. I've asked several of them that grew up during the time when their plantations were booming here in Kohala to share some of their stories of what life was like for them back then. Was it a hard life? Was it something that they enjoyed? Their lives and the struggles that they faced are from a past that I can only imagine. And here's what they said.
My best memories growing up was when, because where we live, we didn't have a swimming pool, we would go down to an area where the plantation would have waters pumped up into ditches. And the ditches were all dirt ditches. And so we used to all go down there with our so-called swimming suits, which was like just our panties and our t-shirt, and we would go swimming in the ditch. And we had a lot of fun, and we would like to make the ditch deeper, like a really pool. So we would get some wood and like clamp down the water and swim in there. Then the supervisor would come because the water wasn't coming through to irrigate the ditch, and he would give us the eye, and everybody would run away with just our t-shirts and panties. And when we think about it, where we live, the homes were above where the ditches were. And all of the homes had pig pens because everybody was raising pigs. And they would wash the pig pens all the time. And the kids, us not realizing, they were shooting the water all down into the water that we were swimming. For me, that was the best thing that I remember.
Run away from the parents and run down the beach swimming. Used to call the beach swimming pool. Yes, we do that, and I used to go to the lady, Hawaiian lady, pick up bees. Three girls go down picking up bees with this lady, and she used to tell us, don't face your okole to the ocean, face your okole up to the mountains. So we used to like that, we used to do that. Then my parents come looking for us.
I think harvesting opihis, I think, where we were more, not really conservative, but being taught that you pick opihis only the right size that people can eat. And you know, I remember picking it, and Mama, we would come up with our bag and put it in the other larger bag, and which it was rice bags at that time. We didn't have anything else. We carried rice bags around with us to put things in. And it was where we would pick enough that we would be giving 3 of our neighbors, which were the Kaholos, the Wongs, and the Marquez family, and then for ourselves. So it wasn't like people do it now. You know, they go and pick peas and they pick so much that then they sell it, but we never did to sell. It was just to share with the friends around us. Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, we used to, all the children in the camp used to play and go down to the gulch, and they had a lot of mango trees, and we used to play and act like we were in the movies, you know, like Tarzan, Jane, and I was Jane. This other guy, he was Anton, he was Tarzan, and Inorio was baby. And we used to swing the branch and be like, you know, in the movies, we used to go, oh! It was so much fun, I tell you.
It was just a carefree life of no problems that we could think of. We make our own toys, you know, whatever you can find. You had imagination, we had that. So it was just not as restricted as it is here nowadays with our kids. And now with our kids, you say, where you going? Don't go there, don't do that. We just went. And we just walked and gone and on the way going, picking up more kids and more friends. And where are you going? Oh, we're going Blue Pond. Okay, more kids. Before you know it, you get like 12 kids going down to Blue Pond to swim, you know? And you don't come home, because if you come home, they're going to put you to work. Clean the yard, clean the house. So you just stay away and eat guavas and oranges and mountain apple and rose apples and everything you can find that's out there, so you don't have to go home and work.
And we used to make our own gum. We used to get the knife and cut the ulu tree. And then in the morning they set, you know, and then that was our gum, and we used to chew, you know, like I was. And some of the boys in the camp were so naughty, and they used to steal our gum.
Off the tree.
From the tree.
We, like we said, we never had bubble gum. And some of the kids, I can see this girl, you know the tar on the road? She used to take the tar and she would chew it and it would become bubble gum.
Because it used to be chewy at the tar.
The tar, you
Yeah,
know,
the tar is chewy. It used to be like a bubble.
that, you know, that they put on the road to the surface of the road. When it's really hot, the tar would get soft, and she was trying to teach us what to do, how to grab the tar and chew it. But for us, we used to go down to the breadfruit tree, cut the the tree up, you know, the bark, and then the next day you would have this nice pink bubble gum, the sap. That's what we were used to when she tell us, you know, just chew the tar in them. No, that was kind of hard for us to chew the tar, but this girl would just grab the tar and chew it and have big bubbles out of her mouth.
Our time, my dad was really strict. So whenever it's time to come home, you just have to know what time it was, because we have to be home, had our bath, we all sit and eat dinner together. And then after that, we listen to the radio. I tell my grandkids, you don't know how to listen because you never had to learn. Our time, we listened to the radio. They had Lone Ranger, all those shows. And everybody just around the radio, and we're all listening to the stories. Yeah. And we would be listening, you know, and we're all in the ends. Nowadays, kids, they don't know how to listen. You talk to them, it's like, you're not even there. But before, we had to learn to listen, so no TV, you know? And when TV came, it was like, whoa, when we were one of the very last to get TV, we used to go up to this guy's house, about 3-4 houses above us. He was the first to get TV. And he was so nice. I think it was like Saturday night, he would invite all of us go up to his house. And you had all the kids, all sitting down in rows, and everybody well behaved, because you were sent home and you cannot watch TV. And I remember first it was black and white. Then Lefty, that's the guy's name, he put this screen, plastic screen, blue color on the top, then was green in the middle, and it was like brownish in the bottom. So we had color TV, but everything was blue on the top, green in the middle. So even if you go close-up face, you still had blue, green, and brown. But we all sat there and just waited and watched, and everybody knew well-behaved, because you want to come back the next Saturday, you know.
And then, of course, Hallelujah, we were watching it because we had a movie theater. And, you know, that was something really big. So when we were little, we'd pay like 10 cents or maybe 13 cents, and we'd go to the movie. But there were a lot of times when we have friends that had a little money, they would treat us to the movie. Because our parents were all broke. Money. But like we talk about this man Johnson, he was a Filipino man, and his name was Faustino. I remember Faustino Johnson. And when we were living down the camp, and we used to go swimming down in the ditches, we used to get a lot of cuts and bruises and stuff. Instead of going home to your parents, we would run to his house. Especially in the afternoon when he gets to, we run to his house and we'll be out there, Johnson! And he would call us in, and he had a special room where he had all his medical things. And he would take us in, clean our sore, put medicine, bandage it up, and tell us, okay, tomorrow you come back this same time, and he's going to change the bandage for you. For you know, he really helped a lot of people in the community, because even in the area that we live, we were down camp, and above the mill that was located was like up camp. And people from up there would come all the way down to Halaula to see Johnson if they had any kind of pain or sore. And all times of the day or night. You know, he was just like there for us. So we had a lot of respect for him, Mr. Johnson.
I would get up in the morning, and of course, I would wash up, come into the kitchen, and my father always had a little bit of coffee on the table for me, because my mother doesn't want us to drink coffee. But my father knew that I love coffee. He would leave me half a cup on the table with a saucer over it. I would drink it fast, I would wash out the cup, and then we would start breakfast for the rest of the children when they come in. And that is preparing, we used to call it mash, which was oatmeal. I'll fix up oatmeal for them and a toast. They would have that, wash them up and all, clean up the kitchen. And that's one thing about Mom. she wants the kitchen clean. And that is to wipe down all the dishes, put it all away. And that's the way she left it. So it has to be left like that. And then of course we'd get ready and off to school we go. And being the oldest, like I say, I would be the number one and all the little ones would follow me and we'd walk all the way to Kohala Elementary School.
Well, I guess that life wasn't that much different for them in that respect. I didn't want to do my chores either. But I don't know if I could have survived my childhood without TV and a handful of candy. So I decided to ask them what the challenges were, or if they even had any. And, as it turns out, there were a few.
We went to school barefooted because we couldn't afford shoes. And my mother used to go to, when they have rummage sale, and look for clothes for us. In the beginning, she sewed our clothes from rice bags. And when my mother, that day when she went to the rummage sale, came back with one dress and a pair of shoes for me, I treasured it so much, When I finished 8th grade, I saved these shoes so that I could wear it for my graduation at 8th grade.
I was a kid, because we couldn't afford to buy, clothes and things of that sort. So I'll have to admit, for all the time that I was growing up, the only thing that I remember having was 3 new panties, Christmas time, they were brand new. Because that was the only thing that was brand new. Everything else was hand-me-downs,
We were all kind of the same. All my girlfriends were all the same boat. We all had one pair of shoes you get in the beginning of the school year, and you wear that one pair of shoes till the end of the school year. My granddaughter got about 7 pair of shoes. I told her, hey, I came 1 pair. And I said, I didn't pick the shoes I wanted. I had those ugly Oxford, what they call it, sandal shoes, the black and white one. I hated those shoes, but that's what you got. And you don't complain, you wear them. You put them on your feet, take them off, because all the cane trucks go, get mud, big mud. You don't want to dirty your shoes, it's going to last the whole year. So you pick them up, hold them in your hand, walk to school in the mud, get to school, and the school used to have a cement slab with a faucet. You wash your feet, put your shoes back on, stay all day in school with your shoes, before you come home, take off your shoes, walk in the thick mud again, go home. You gotta save that shoes, but you're not gonna have shoes.
Lucky Sandy, you for that shoes. We had nothing.
Well,
barefooted.
I hated those shoes.
When we were growing up, we didn't have shoes. We hardly had slippers. We would all walk barefooted to school, and when it rains, we would be all soaking wet. We go to the school, we go down to the cafeteria, and they would have the kerosene stoves going on, and we would just stand in front of the stove and try to dry ourselves to go back to classes. And if you have shoes, if you're lucky to have shoes, it's from maybe your older sister, the hand-me-downs. And a lot of times you stuff it up with paper so that you could use it. But for us it was fine,
Because everybody was the same. Yeah. So it's like, no big thing.
Well, I didn't graduate high school now. I went only till 8th grade and that's it. So my mom told me, please son, let's go to work at a plantation sugar company because they hire people there. But I said, I want to go to high school. No, Dad is not making enough money to feed the family, 11 children. Oh boy, that was really hard. Yeah. So I had to go and work at the plantation. But I started with the Filipinos working in a field with hoe, hoe. Then I went tractor operator. Then I went, we had a guy, gee, I forget his name now. He told me, apply for the mill crane operator. Crane operator, I said, how do you operate that? They don't worry, they get people that teach how to operate that crane. So I applied and I got the job. So I went to the mill and we had a guy, gee, I forget the name now, teaching me how to operate the machine. And then when I learned that, how to operate the machine, we had 3 people, but I was the best operator. I hate to say that, but that was a fact.
This thing about it is, getting food on the table, doing the laundry on cement floors, scrubbing, my mother. And she made a hammock where the baby stays in the hammock while she's doing the laundry. And like for instance, like the bathhouse, it was a distance from us, and if that was here today, there would be a lot of problems.
Because Daddy was the only one that brought in the money, it was like we were so, money meant a lot to us, like whenever we would, I remember working for a senior farm, and it is replanting corn, picking corn, or replanting sugarcane, and it would be 50 cents a day. That's what I would get. And I would bring it home after the week we get paid. And senior farm would bring a half gallon of milk down with me and would give it to my mom as a token of thank you having me work in the farm, And my mother would give me 25 cents. I would run down to Luke's restaurant, buy me a milkshake, and then 15 cents to go to the movie. And there was Javi Theater. So to me, it was something that nowadays children don't even know the value of money. So to me, it's something that I, for myself, whenever I give my grandkids, a $5 bill, I used to give them $1. They would look at the dollar like, I don't need this. But if you give them a $5 bill, oh, they're happy, But it's, I don't know, I'm glad I grew up at that time. I got to learn values,
My father struggled with his asthma, so in time he lost his job. So that made it more difficult. By then, my mother had said to me, I want you to go to Honolulu. I said, I don't want to go. She said, because so that you can help me raise your brothers and sisters. My sisters and my brothers, I missed them so much when I went to Honolulu.
There's no cars, but you know how we got our transportation? We used to have basketball games between the kids that live in Halaula. They had their own Halaula team, different parts, they had their own team. And when we want to go to watch the games, we would go on the plantation labor trucks. In the evening, the truck driver would come around the camp, pick up all the kids who wanted to go, take us all to Hawaii, watch the game. After the game, bring us back on the truck. We had no transportation. So everything was, you walking.
Yeah, like living in Halaula, coming to Kapa'au, it's just like going from here to Hilo. You get all excited, oh, I'm going to the big city, And it's just from Halaula to Kapa'au. So we rarely left. We had 3 stores. We had Goya, Harada, and Nakahara. And they provided us with everything we needed, So really didn't need to go no place else.
We didn't have any automobile to travel. So when we wanted to go to school, and we used to, because we were living way down the camp, we had to walk, I think it's like over half a mile to go to meet, when we would meet the bus to take us, when we were in high school at that time, we'd wait for the bus, and by the time we up there, we would be either all soaking wet, or, you know, the girls, they wanted their hair to be nice and stuff, but that was one of the challenges, that we never had an automobile, that we had to walk and meet the bus, and the same thing when you're coming home, you know, the bus would drop you off and you have to walk maybe about half a mile to get home. But that was one of the challenges for me.
Yeah, now just going to Kupuna. Kids, I'm going to Kupuna to the movies. I mean, it's like we're halfway around the world for us to go to Kupuna in those days. But kids now, oh, I go to the movies at Kupuna. Oh, okay.
Nobody had the phone except the stores. And so if you wanna make a call, you would have to run down to the store and ask the store owner if you could use the phone to make a call. But he would dial and the phone, and then you can talk to the people. But then we never had, when we became older and in high school, that's when we had a party line time. But a lot of us didn't have a phone.
Okay, get the damn phone! And then people on the other line just pick them up, and like, when we have about 5 families with one party line, you know, and people had a lot of kids in those days. And the teenage girls especially would be the ones that hold the darn line. And here I get so mad because I was younger than them, you know. And I like to call somebody too, but cannot, they're always on the line.
Clearly, life for them back then was like nothing I could have imagined. I must admit that having clothes, food, and a readily available transportation is something that I took for granted. It's hard to imagine not having conveniences or having to work at such a young age to support the family. The final question that I asked was what advice they could give to the young families and children of Kohala.
But in fact, now all my grandkids, they're all mostly grown, but I have a lot of great-grand. And my husband and I babysit a lot of our great-grandkids. And you know, we try to teach them that you cannot have everything that you want. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe if you ask for 3 things, maybe we can give you 1. But you gotta work for it. And you know, you have to be nice. You cannot be sassy to Nana and Papa, you know. And so far it's working for us, and we just hope it continues like that.
And in order to survive or live, you need to have God in the center of your life. That's how my life was. Follow the rules. It's not what you get that counts, it's what you give that counts.
I have to thank the men and women that put out themselves there, their time, to be with the children, whether it be basketball, baseball, and things of that sort, to come out and be there with the children and have them have that part of life that they can at least, you know, come out of home and go down and enjoy that, you know, because they like playing. Whereas, you know, nowadays there's hardly anything around that children can do that's safe and where they can get to and from. So, I just have to say I thank all the people in Kohala that support, especially our sports program.
Listen to your grandparents' stories. Listen, because you would never know what we went through. And look, we all survived. You know, Christmas, you get 1 present. Some people didn't have any. And usually the present you get is clothes. You know, nowadays, kids, they don't appreciate anything. You know, and everything is give me. You know, so listen to your grandparents and their stories and say, wow. You know, and we're all happy. You know, we didn't have as much suicide as they have nowadays with all these kids who have everything. You know?
I learned a lot while making this film. I thought that I already knew about the lives that my kupuna had lived, but in the end, they still managed to teach me something. Our past does define who we are. It helps to ground us and keeps us rooted to the struggles that our ancestors had to endure so that we could live our lives the way that we choose to. I am forever grateful to have this connection, to be able to learn from their history. And to me, that knowledge is priceless. Aloha.